Morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We take a look at your weekend forecast for today, January 31st through February 2nd. Lots to talk about. Kind of a weak system today, but it could bring some impacts. And then a system on Sunday, late Sunday evening into Sunday overnight as well, which could also bring some impacts. Neither storm is overly significant, but both could bring some impacts. That's sort of been the story of the year. Lots of storms, not overly impactful. One thing that's a little different about this storm is it at least originated in the southern jet stream, not the northern jet stream, and that's been part of the complicated factor with it, because even though the northern jet stream is also associated with it, the two are not coming together, and so knowing exactly where things were going to end up and stuff like that has been complicated. It looked like maybe for a bit we would get a pretty good period of freezing rain with this. That trend seems to have lessened. I wouldn't say there's no chance of freezing rain, but I think most of us, because of the timing of the system, because precipitation is going to start this afternoon, should be either above freezing, or by then the cold air aloft is also going to be moving in, or we're going to change over to just plain snow. So I think it's either going to be rain or snow for the most part. I wouldn't say that is a guarantee entirely, but that's the most likely setup for things. So let's take a quick look at radar. You can see it looks like there's a shield of precipitation headed in our direction pretty soon, but a lot of this is taking a little bit of time to actually hit the ground. It's going to take some time. To our south and west, I think, is the area where there's the most likely freezing rain period, because again, there's a race basically between the system headed north and the colder air aloft sinking to the south. By the time we get into the steady precipitation, the colder air aloft is probably going to be here for a lot of us, or we're going to have plenty of time to warm up at the surface. I think most of us will be above freezing for at least a little bit of today. First time in a while that's happened. Not enough to cause any real big problems. And if we get some sprinkles, it's going to be a light, except for maybe in areas near Brattleboro where you could have a little bit longer of a period of rain. For the most part, this is going to be a very quick period of liquid where not much falls before the snow comes in. Interestingly, we all end up with close to the same amount of snow, because where we get more rain, we're going to get more overall precipitation as well. If you're north, we'll talk about details as we go, so I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's take a closer look in. You can see here is our that first wave of precipitation. It's not overly strong. You can see the general trend is everything slides out to sea. So yes, we're going to get a period of precipitation. This tailback here, which will be the snow portion of the system, will kind of slide through. As you can see, it's not anything too exciting on radar right now. It's there. There are some heavier bands back here, but like generally, it's not an overly powerful system, or at least not an overly too much moisture. A lot of the moisture is kind of being pushed out to sea with this one. Let's take a look at temperatures. You can see we are in the battleground, right? It's cold, and certainly in the valley locations we cooled off pretty good. It was really good radiational cooling early in the night before the clouds moved in. But to our north, cold to our north, a lot of Canada's quite cold right now. Alaska's very cold right now. So the pump is prime, but we're also warmed up in the southeast. One thing that's changed about this pattern over the last little bit here is that we have warmed, the cold is not pushed as far south, and we've got kind of, even across the west, although it's cold-ish in the mountains, like it always is, we've got a lot of marine air moving in. So generally, we kind of have this north-south gradient, and we kind of are on the battle zone there. And so that's one of the reasons we're getting this system. The next system will basically follow that battleground as well. It won't have as much moisture, and it'll be definitely mostly all snow. I think it's going to be all snow on Sunday, but as a kind of a clipper system. But yeah, so that's basically kind of what's going on. Let's take a look at the general trend for radar. As you can see, some of this very light rain, you can see the blues. You see there's not a lot of orange or red in there. The models recently have kind of really, I think the cold air crashes south quick enough to keep us from too much of the freezing rain. Part of the reason there was a thought of more freezing rain earlier was that it was going to start earlier, and we wouldn't have a chance to warm up temperatures during the day a little bit. We're cloudy, but we can still warm those temperatures a little bit. And aloft, by the time it starts to really precipitate, the cold air is going to be crashing south aloft, and that changes everything from rain to snow. So yeah, instead of getting that period of freezing rain, still could get a few pockets of freezing rain. And if you're driving around noon today, or 1 o'clock in the afternoon as things just get started and you notice, oh, it's below freezing, and it's all of a sudden sprinkling, be very careful. My guess is they will pre-treat roads anyway, because that's the kind of stuff that can get incredibly treacherous incredibly quickly. So you just got to be careful about that, but no issues with power lines or anything like that, none of those problems. And most of the precipitation falls as snow. Like I said, one of the things you're going to see in the snowfall map, you can notice where we get the most rain, kind of in the southeastern Windham County, that's also where the snow is the heaviest and hangs on the longest. So that's why, even though they get more rain than the rest of us, they also get as much snow, basically, as the rest of us. North of Route 11, you're basically snow the whole event, I think, basically. Let's take a quick look. Let's go to the map for snowfall accumulations. This is not a big event. It will be slippery on the roads late this afternoon through this evening. Things wrap up by around midnight, so it gets better. But basically 1 to 2 inches, with a couple of spots 3 inches in some of the higher elevations, western-facing slopes. This will be a bit. You'll get your upslope snow on the west side this time. If you head into Rutland and Windsor County, most of you 1 to 2 inches. Although if you're in the Connecticut River Valley and kind of shadowed to the east of the greens, maybe just an inch there. And the further north you go, the less. But yeah, not a huge event. I wouldn't be shocked if there was a spot that got 4, but I think in general this is not a real heavy event in terms of snowfall. It's mostly just a couple inches, enough to shovel maybe, but basically not enough to cause huge problems. I think by Saturday morning things are cleared out because the snow ends not that long, midnight or just a little bit after tonight. Let's take a quick look at the storm details. Precipitation begins between 1 and 3 p.m. this afternoon. Begins as light rain south of Route 11, light snow north. There was a small chance that some of that light rain might be freezing rain, but I wouldn't be too worried about that. Route 11 south. By 7 p.m., all precipitation should turn to snow. That would be, and the last places to do that would be areas to the south and east. A lot of places will turn to snow before 7 p.m. And snow wraps up a little after midnight. It's not going to be overly heavy. Moderate snow would be the heaviest we might get, like half an inch an hour at times. So, enough that the roads will get slick, but not terrible. Like I said, travel will be slick this evening, but should be cleared by the morning. Let's take a quick look at your actual forecast here. Today, there's that wintry mix, mostly rain or snow. Highs get to 36. A lot of us get above freezing today. Then we cool off. We start to cool off throughout the night tonight. It's warmer early on with temperatures in the low 30s, upper 20s, but then temperatures just kind of steadily march down all the way from just after the snow ends, a little after midnight on Friday or Saturday morning, all the way through the afternoon on Saturday. So that 14-degree high for Saturday, that's sort of an average to the middle of the day. We'll probably start off, about 16. That's why that's the low, and kind of steadily move down. By evening, we could be, by the sundown, even with the sun, we could be 10, 11 degrees on an average. It's going to get cold. Saturday night is real cold, -8 on average. Wouldn't be surprised to see some minus double digits in places in some of those good radiational cooling spots. Sunday, a little bit warmer, although not like it's chilly on Sunday still too. Clouds kind of keep temperatures down as well, but we are kind of we're going to warm up a little bit, and we have some evening snow, I think, that starts to impact the area Sunday evening, probably by around sundown. Timing's still a little undetermined on that. Again, this looks like a similar amount to the kind of system that we're looking at now. Not a guarantee that that'll stay the same, but I don't think we're looking at not a huge dumping, but enough that you're going to have to move it around a little outside, and then the roads will probably be slick Sunday. Probably by Monday morning, things will be in pretty good shape. I don't think that snow is not going to last and linger too long either. So, light rain turns to snow. This is the weekend highlights with accumulations of 1 to 2 inches for the most part for us this afternoon and tonight. Saturday is very cold. Temperatures dropping through the teens in the afternoon, and a bit breezy on Saturday behind the storm as well. So wind chills will be cold. If you're skiing tomorrow, bundle up. It's doable, but bundle up. Sunday is warmer, but still below average. Again, if you're skiing on Sunday, not as windy, so Sunday's pretty good, but temperatures are going to be in the teens. And by the afternoon, we'll be in the teens. And the single numbers at the tops of the mountains. And it'll be cold to start on Sunday morning. If you're going to ski early on Sunday, just be prepared. Sunday will be dry for the most part of the day before an area of light snow impacts the area in the late afternoon. Snow continues Sunday night with light accumulations. Like I said, probably similar to the system as well. So that's what's happening. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel before, I would encourage you to do so. Helps make sure you don't miss any of my videos. I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons. They help support what I do here at the West River Weather Guy. And I will be back. Hopefully I'll have a chance. I've been very busy with other stuff, so haven't had as many forecasts as I wanted. I'd love to have a forecast out for you for the Sunday evening event. Even though it's not a huge deal, I'd like to just give you an update on it. Maybe that'll happen on Sunday afternoon, early afternoon. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll try to do that. I'll certainly have a forecast for you Monday morning that looks at next week's work week. Pattern seems to be kind of similar, though, in terms of no big storms. That's the big kind of highlight for the long term, is that nothing has changed in terms of what looks like big impactful storms for us over the long haul. So that may eventually change, but it doesn't look like it's going to change in the next week or so. All right, thanks for supporting the channel. Like I said, if you're interested in becoming a patron, there's a link in the description below. Otherwise, we'll see you on Monday, definitely. Hopefully some other time this weekend if I get a chance to forecast.